trained remote viewer. All my psychic skills have been developed with different shamans and different teachers and masters since I was a child. I was part of a secret military program that has still not been declassified, and I was never compensated for. Not then, not now. But I believe in reincarnation. Well, why would I have been foolish enough to choose the misery I went through? And it has to do with acquiring these skills that I have to be able to decipher some issues humans have had forever and a day. One of the things that I deciphered had to do with the creation of reality. And today is a very important day on Twitter and in the news in general. Um, Carlson Tucker is sharing with us his interview with Putin. And there is a place for all of this. We need to have information. We're human beings. We have mind streams. They want information. But we also need to remember, which is why I am here, that we create our reality. And we should talk about and understand what we created, consequences, etc. But we do need to dedicate a section of our time to recreating something that we don't like, or something that is no longer good for us, or something like peace that is almost impossible to find on the planet. Very quickly, I'm going to remind you of what all the medicines on the planet except modern medicine know. Health is a balance of the elements. 4 elements or 5 elements, depending upon who it is that you're talking with. We have an excess of the fire element on planet Earth. And what are the symptoms? One of the symptoms is war. Another symptom is suicide. Another symptom is, one of the first symptoms was insomnia. Remember years ago, or don't you remember how we used to actually be able to sleep at night? We started with the issue of lack of quality sleep when we started with the radiations from the electronics, which added fire. The issue is the fire. The symptom is the radiation. The issue is too much fire. The whole planet is basically burning up with an excess of fire, which means we have entirely too much food for hate, war, mental illness, because mental illness is when there's excess fire, poor sleep, rages, frustrations, nobody's happy with anything. Okay. We didn't understand modern medicine, and the people we deal with in this part of the world have not taught us any of that, so we weren't able to take care of it. It turns out that it can be taken care of a lot more easily than I thought. I was actually very down about what I had understood, discovered, tied together, deciphered, until I went to the next stage, which is that we don't actually have to turn into pretzels in order to be healthy, even if everything around us is going up in flames. We can create our own little separate reality, but we need to know how. I can't tell you in 2 seconds how to do that. You have to read the stuff I've put out there. So may I suggest that you follow us? Because what I do is I put out information. We do very little sales. My staff is actually always furious at me because I don't pay any attention to that. That all comes. So we are here tonight, the same night that Tucker Carlson is going to give an interview that apparently, or revealed to us an interview with Putin that apparently is so big that he's been put on kill lists. And there's people discussing whether he should be sanctioned. Why should anybody be sanctioned for talking to the enemy, or what we have been made to understand is the enemy? But we don't even need to go there. Why don't we go to the recreation of this reality that we've created, where we're all sure that we're gonna end in a big war? Let's go ahead and go with a peace plan, which has to do with the human mind, because that's what creates. So what we're going to do here together is a mantra that's really simple. Please, God, help us with our intention to miraculously heal the fear and hate, because that's the basis for war. We don't need to get intellectual, scholarly. We don't need to make it longer. We need it very short. And then we're going to put on a music that has trilling in it, which is the sound of birds chirping. Trilling releases mind streams, which are the strings of the mind, which the instrument for creation. So we want them relaxed. We don't want them knotted. We don't want them hanging on to things. So we're going to be doing the mantra plus sensory therapy with the video. But before that, I would like to show you some sketches of what somebody looked like before she did this that we're going to do now, and how she looked at the end. It's 4 sketches, which I remote viewed, and I was shocked at the difference. So here we go. This is the person when I first sketched her. See the black mind streams? Those, she was depressed. She wasn't doing no mantra, no video, nothing. Just this is how she was in terms of a sketch of her at the level of mind streams. Okay, this is the second sketch. She is doing a mantra for depression. And you can see from that, I'm going to go back to the first one. Here's the first one. Okay. And then she does the mantra for depression. And there her strings start to they start to lift up, which lifts her up. She feels better. Then she continues and she's doing this mantra that we're going to do now. Please, God, help me with my intention that there be a miraculous purification of the fear and hate. Okay, look how incredible. From 2 minutes before, this entire experiment with 3 other sketches took a total of 7 minutes. You're going to be with us longer than 7 minutes. So look at the chi that gets kicked up. No mind streams hanging. And she is doing simply the mantra. She does not have the sensory therapy video on. So now let's go to what you're going to be working with, which is the mantra plus the video. You can see that earth energy is rising up from the ground into this person's assemblage of bodies. You can see her throat chakra has more mind streams extending. They're short, new, fresh. You can see all that chi. The most important thing you can see, no, she's got the music on, plus she's doing the mantra. This is within 7 minutes, all of this. You see the line around her extended mind streams? That is protection. And there at the upper right, you can barely see it. There's a bad spirit that can no longer influence this person. Is that incredible? Because these are the strings that create reality. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go directly into, because we're not, there's really not much to discuss. If at the end you want to ask a couple of questions, fine. And if you want me to do some kind of a session in English to where you can ask different questions, I'll be glad to do that. So let's go ahead and get the mantra up. And I will have it up in Spanish also, because we have a lot of people here. That's their language, and they're going to be comfortable doing it. The more people we get, the better. Okay, here it is. The mantra is, please, God, help us with our intention to miraculously purify the fear and hate. The rest of it's in Spanish. The mantras are repeated in silence in your head, or you can direct the words to a different part of your body that seems to be limping. You do not move your mouth with the words because you get exhausted. You will have that tendency. Don't do it. Excuse me a second. So I'm going to put the music on now. But before I put the music on, I'm going to show you something that you're probably familiar with, which is this very famous gold and white dress. This photograph will measure how your frequency is going. However you see it now, just kind of remember it. And a couple of times during this session, I'm going to put it up. And some people don't see it white and gold, which is how it was designed and made. They see it bronze and blue. That means your frequency is low. Now, years ago, I saw it white and gold. Oh, of course, I'm so spiritually developed. And then 2 hours later, I saw it blue and brown, the same dress. And I went, what happened? I had a temper tantrum. I got upset at something. I had a temper tantrum. My frequency lowered, and I could no longer see the gold, which is the point that we're making here. We're going into the golden age. Is that gold going to be available to you? Or are you going to have a lower frequency and not even be able to see it, not know that it's there for you, or simply not to be there for you? So we'll show it again at the end. Okay? Okay. So just release the breath from your mouth. Repeat the words in your mind, in your head, or repeat it in another part of your body if you already have the ability to do that. Your feet should be on the floor, and it would be good if you had your hands in the Apana Mudra. And I think it's great that we are doing this at the same time that Carlson Tucker is releasing to the world an interview that basically crosses that line. That's the enemy. Let's cross the line and find out what they're thinking over there. We need to do a lot more of that. Here. How does the dress look? Is it any more gold and white? Is it shinier? And how do you feel? I should have reminded you all the way at the beginning to assess yourself, but if you can remember, see if you feel more relaxed. And the wonderful thing about doing things for other people, including a mantra or including a healing session, is that the person who's giving the healing to someone else is also receiving a healing. My contention is that it's because you have to align all your bodies and your mind and focus in order to give a healing. And when you do that, we always feel better. For whatever reason, when you heal someone else or you heal a concept like world peace, you are also getting a healing. So I want to remind you that on planet Earth, reality is created by humans through intention. We have zero training in that. The closest thing I have found was when I worked in the corporate world, which wasn't very long, but I learned a lot. When you do a business plan, when your boss calls you in and says, okay, what do you think you're going to do for the next 3 months? And let me see if that's enough and how are you going to do it, etc. And you write it down and you put it in a drawer, and a week later or a month later, you review it with your boss. When you do that process of actually having a plan and writing it down and discussing it with someone else, your chances of achieving those numbers or that success are augmented dramatically. I don't know what the percentage is, I don't remember, but it's like very high. It's the same thing with all your intentions, because that business plan has to do with your intentions. It's the same thing with all your other intentions. If you can write them down. Yes, we speak English here and Spanish, Dragon. But if you can have a focus, discuss it with somebody, write it on a piece of paper, review it once a week or once a day. Also, sketch what you see as having successfully accomplished that intention. The chances of you getting it are augmented dramatically. And the chances of there being peace are augment the more people that pay attention and repeat the mantra, which reinforces and vitalizes all of our intention that there be world peace. We want world peace, but there are things that we can do about it that don't cost money and that are extremely effective and that will support the number one reality on planet Earth, which is that we human beings create through intention. Now, something obviously got messed up. Why would we create war? Because we have a lot of subconscious intentions and because we haven't understood that in order to create successfully, you need to also be in an environment that supports it. And our environment has an excess of the element of fire, which supports war and generates war and fuels war. And in humans individually, it is causal and suicide, insomnia, frustrations, anger, physical violence, emotional violence, and murder. All of those are symptoms of an excess of the fire element. War between neighbors, war between countries. So we create reality, but we are working within environments that are not supportive of what we would want our creations to be. And we're learning more about that, and we share it in our social media. So please join us. I hope you all feel better. Um, and we'll be back again tomorrow. I'm glad, Selena, you thought the session was amazing. I'm afraid to make it longer and have people get bored, but maybe each day that goes by we'll make it a tad longer, because it's really an investment in ourselves. Our mind that creates reality is able to relax, and then we have more of an ability to focus on what it is that we want rather than react to what's around us. We were constructed to create. We have structures which I, fortunately, because of my intense training, remote viewing abilities, I'm able to see those structures. In my training, I was a kid and I worked with scientists and military. They did not appreciate having to work with a kid who could see stuff. So it was very challenging, and that's an understatement. But I learned that if I sketched the energies, it was easier for them to understand that I was really answering their question rather than what is that? What is that? So I learned to sketch at the level of structure in the other dimensions, which is really very neat, which is why you saw the sketches that I did in the beginning, showing you all the changes that you can achieve. And I'm going to go through those sketches rapidly again. This is a person that within 7 minutes, all of these things happened, having to do with mantras and the sensory therapy music videos, with and without. So I'll go through them very quickly for you to see them again. Um, this is the person originally, no therapy, no music, no mantra, nada, just depressed. This is the person doing the mantra for depression. Her mind streams are getting better, the ones that were depressed. This is the same person doing the mantra for peace, the same mantra we just did for half an hour, but no sensory therapy. In other words, the environment was not touched. And this is her with the environment modified because of the sensory therapy music video that you saw and did mantras to for 20 minutes, plus the peace mantra. Look how incredible. Look at those spheres of chi, which are chi is the God particle, and it's the four elements: water, air, fire, and earth in perfect combination. Totally healing, totally supportive. You see the throat is releasing new mind streams that are short, Nile green, nice, like when babies are born, that's how they start to extend their mind streams. And you can see the line around the canopy of mind streams, how it's not allowing this bad spirit to come in. And you see that the earth energy is lifting up to fill the assemblage of bodies or the bodies of this person. This is within 7 minutes due to the mantra. But the truth of the matter is that the sensory therapy, and it's what we just had on, those videos are free on YouTube. We commissioned them, and most of them were done by Mateo Cuaron, whose uncle was a very famous Mexican producer. He produced one of the Harry Potter movies and also a couple of series that were, I don't remember the name, that won a lot of awards. The family is very gifted, and Mateo Cuaron is very gifted, and the music is sacred. So we have the most important ones. We have them 8 and 10 hours long so that you can sleep with it all night and have that additional protection. What do these sensory, it's Fox sensory therapy. What does it do for you? It helps your environment so that your environment can nurture and protect and energize your intentions. So you have the ability to create reality, but you need an environment that doesn't block you and that hopefully can support you. And these sensory therapy music videos do that. They work. Most people don't know that images hang in the air. So, and most people don't know that the countries that have the most TV sets and watch the most television, um, with murders and all sorts of things, that's where the real violence is going to be, because those images stay within the mind of the person and they're part of the tools for creation. So if your bank of images is all about killing and death and murder and rape and fear, very difficult to create peace, which is another reason why you should have these Fox Sensory videos on 24/7, beating up your environment so it can kick out all of those images. And then, of course, on the other hand, paying attention when you choose what you're going to be watching, because that's part of your creative toolbox. What you take in visually, auditory, sensory, etc., that is your toolbox for creation. And you don't want to have in your toolbox for creation the opposite of what you want to create, which is peace. We need to make more sense. And we haven't, because we haven't paid enough attention to the requirements in the other dimensions. But I'm going to stop talking now. And it's 44 minutes and 44 seconds, which means it was perfect time for me to stop talking. So we'll see you here again tomorrow. Okay? Thank you. I'm Frances Fox, and hopefully, eventually, I'll be your favorite psychic spy. As soon as you get over the fact that I was a psychic spy, which I didn't choose to be, I was put into that, I was never compensated. But a lot of people have a hard time getting over that and trusting. You don't have to trust me. You have to trust yourself. If your heart is screaming, she's lying, then you shouldn't be here. But your heart's not going to be screaming that because I'm not lying. You need to be able to trust your feelings, your emotions, your intuition. It's extra information. You can't just be reacting to things. Okay? So maybe we have something here for you. So that's it. Thanks for joining us. Bye.